Greek-born Lafcadio Hearn spent nearly a decade in New Orleans, writing for local and national publications. He spread the word about the uniqueness of the city with its rich culture, including carnival. The 2024 Rex Parade depicts some of the local life and lore that he spotlighted before ultimately moving to Japan. Even though he had lived elsewhere, these two worlds meant much to him.
Hearn really defined what New Orleans is to the English-speaking world, yet many of our people have forgotten all about who he was. Now, he went on to Japan, to greatness, and is regarded over there as one of the great literary figures of all time.
Even though Hearn lost sight in one eye in a schoolyard skirmish, it never prevented him from chronicling what he experienced as an adult.
Some of the great stories that he wrote about, including bountiful pursuits of all of our great sportsmen's paradise wildlife, fish and game and things like that, to the festive, the cockroach who tries to commit suicide by drowning himself in various eatables and drinkables.
Some of it can be a little tongue-in-cheek, like there's a float called the Festive that was Lafcadio Hearn's homage to the New Orleans cockroach and the fact that it will outlive us all.
So we've got the New Orleans part of the procession first, and then followed by the Japanese world of Lafcadio Hearn. And when he was in Japan, he wrote mainly about Japanese fairy tales and ghost stories and interesting things like that.
From 1878 to 1887, in addition to essays for newspapers, the author wrote La Cuisine Creole, considered one of New Orleans' earliest cookbooks, and Cheetah, a memory of Last Island, concerning a devastating hurricane. The Louisiana Iris is a glimpse of the more serene natural beauty Hearn described in his writings.
If you look at the swamp lilies on the Night of All Saints float, I mean, they're incredibly beautiful and delicate, and they will shimmer and jiggle as the float goes down the street. The same thing on the Autumn Lover and Spring Lover float, the intricate wisteria flowers that will be dangling from the top.
For me, a beautiful float should be a beautiful piece of art, but it also should tell a beautiful story. And Japanese folklore is rich. One of the reasons Lafcadio Hearn went to Japan and fell in love with the place were the stories. And these floats tell beautiful stories.
Royal Artist builds the 20 themed floats. The numerous signature floats, the ones we see each year, complete the rolling tableau.
So we need as much time as possible. So right now we've got themes set for 2025, 2026, and a potential theme for 2027. About 18 months before Carnival, we really get together with the artistic director and start talking about what are the concepts that we think would translate well into the floats.
Caroline Thomas succeeds longtime artistic director Henri Schindler. She follows a long line of women who have designed the Rex Parade over the years.
Wonderful women artists, most of them associated with Newcomb College. She enjoys finding the stories and then telling those stories in her sketches and these beautiful rolling works of art. Caroline is unique, though, among all the women who've worked on Rex projects over the years. Caroline is the only artistic director in our history that I'm aware of who both designs these floats, prepares the sketches, and then actually comes to the den and makes these things happen, picks up a brush and executes her own sketches and turns those into these beautiful floats.
While the presentation of the annual parade is a priority, also important is the philanthropic arm of the Rex organization. Since its inception in 2006, the Pro Bono Publico Foundation has contributed over $14 million towards the betterment of local public education.
For most of the year, the den is really a very quiet place. It is really a happy time for me when I see, in the weeks before Mardi Gras, when I see the den filled up with school children. We have hundreds or even thousands of school children now who come to see these floats before they roll. It gives us a chance to not only talk about the history and the art, but also to tell those stories, so that maybe when these floats are down the street and parents are wondering what that's about, maybe a young child's going to tell them. And if that's the case, then we will have helped fulfill part of our educational mission, which is very important to us.
When the Rex Parade rolls on Mardi Gras Day, this year the date will be February 13th, the same as the first Rex Parade in 1872. And through all that time, what has prevailed is a devotion to depicting the many facets of our city. That passion was also Hearn's passion, best summed up in one of his quotes, I'd rather live here in sackcloth and ashes than to own the whole state of Ohio.